What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and it's Top 10 Thursday. Part of the fun of building a huge collection like this is that sometimes I have no idea what I'm gonna get. Occasionally, I'll go on eBay and just buy a random box of cheap video games. What's inside is such a surprise. Is it gonna be something super rare, really interesting, or just downright strange? Some of this stuff is just so bizarre it makes me wonder how it was even made. So this week, let's take a look at games like that. These are my picks for the top 10 weirdest games of all time. Number 10. Goat Simulator. When you log into Steam, on the front page you're often greeted by some of the highest rated titles of the week. You can pretty much guarantee that you'll see a couple shooters or maybe an open world adventure. What you normally don't expect is a game where you play as a goat. Honestly, it's kinda hard to even call this a game because it's just so random. There's no main objective or point. If you really want to, you can put on a jetpack and fly around, shove people into traffic, or even summon Satan. There is no logic to this simulator, and yet it's sold millions of copies. Next time you want to put on the hooves of a floppy animal and kill some time, I guess you can check out this goat. Number 9. Katamari Damacy. One night, not long ago, the Lord of all Cosmos got ultra drunk on space beer. Being so intoxicated, he figured it'd be a great time to use his godly powers to smash all the stars in the sky. While it was certainly good fun, now he regrets doing it. As his intergalactic child, it's unfortunately now your job to clean up this mess. You might be asking, how do you make new stars? Well, apparently you just roll around a giant ball that's covered in sticky stuff. I'm not really sure how this functions, but I assume it involves magic or something. All you need to focus on is cruising across the land, scooping up bigger and bigger objects. You start with thumbtacks and batteries, eventually moving on to fence posts, and finally entire cities. When your orb gets big enough, it flies into the sky and explodes, creating a new star. The mix of crazy art style, weird plot, and jazzy music makes this a game that defies all explanation. Number 8. Halo 2600. There's probably a strong chance you've never heard the name Ed Fries before, and yet he's a rather important figure in gaming history. He helped Microsoft with the original development of the first Halo, thus launching a new age of console multiplayer action. Years after he left the Xbox design team, Ed was working freelance and doing his own projects when suddenly he stumbled on a book about programming for the Atari 2600. Growing up, his favorite thing to play was Frogger, so he decided to combine his passion and knowledge of Halo to remake this famous game for this classic retro system. What you're seeing here is the final product of that effort, and it's truly amazing to see in motion. This has several levels that have different weapons to pick up, multiple enemy types to battle, and even key cards for opening doors. It's so interesting to try a new game that feels so fantastic to play but seems like it's from the ancient past. Number 7. Holy invasion of privacy, Badman, what did I do to deserve this? Yes, that is the real title that someone thought was a great idea for this project. Imagine beating a game where you're the villain instead of the good guys. What if all you wanted to do in life is perform your evil experiments in peace without all these annoying heroes trying to come and defeat you constantly? The goal here is to have your minions build a series of traps and mazes that are supposed to make all these knights in shining armor die before they can get to you. At first glance, that doesn't appear to be too much of a challenge, but as stronger, more well-trained foes start hunting you down, the dungeon construction needs to be far more intricate. Smashing blocks to open up tunnels and filling them with monsters takes a lot of strategy, but deep down you know that these dastardly heroes are gonna slay you sooner or later. Small fun fact here at the end, this studio actually got sued for the title of this game because it sounded too much like Batman. I'm being totally serious about that, it's hilarious. Number 6. Mr. Mosquito. You know, I never really thought I'd actually have an opportunity to talk about this weird flying bug adventure, but I finally have an excuse. Mr. Mosquito has us becoming a goofy, happy little insect who's on a quest to store up gallons of blood so he can survive the winter. Here is where things get slightly more creepy though. Since we're just a tiny creature that's almost smaller than the eye can see, it's pretty easy to travel from room to room without being noticed. That means you can choose to carry out your mission and prepare for the coming cold, or just be an absolute sleep sleaze bag and hang out in the bathroom to watch people shower. Wow, yeah, this game really gives you that option to just stick to the wall and silently view this family bathing. It simply astounds me that at some point a programmer probably sat down with a piece of paper, drew this out, and took it to his boss, who looked at it and went, "Yeah, this isn't a strange as hell idea, let's turn it into a game." Number 5. Catherine. This is sort of a puzzle game, a bit of a platformer, and all literal nightmarish insanity. When Vincent is struggling to deal with his pushy girlfriend begging him to marry her, he goes out on his own to have a night by himself. It's here that he meets a mysterious blonde that Vincent accidentally ends up sleeping with. From here on out, he carries a heavy curse. Each day when he shuts his eyes, our unlucky protagonist is transported to a magical place of demons and sheep. The only thing that matters in this corrupted world is escaping, which is done by solving jumping puzzles and getting out as quickly as possible. If you miss a leap or fall for any reason, then Vincent will never wake up. During this, you also have to spend your waking hours trying to figure out what's really going on and how you can break free of this madness. What's really important here is trying to finish the game before you lose your mind in real life. Number 4. Tokyo Jungle. There's always something so uniquely fun when you find a bizarre experimental title. A game that a big company wouldn't think to make, but is still really cool in its own way. That's the niche that Tokyo Jungle fits into, with its strange combination of open world exploration, talking animals, and rather vicious kills. Our story is set hundreds of years after mankind has vanished, and now wildlife has reclaimed the heart of major cities. That leaves these beasts to set up their own food chain again that'll determine who is the hunter and who is the hunted. It's just as brutal as it seems, and yet the art direction is rather upbeat and happy. When I'm filling the role of a lone wolf and I'm stalking my prey through the streets of this overgrown town, I don't exactly expect to look so cheerful. Even when I'm ripping apart a little fluffy animal that's super cute, the music stays jolly. There's sort of an unsettling tone that each choice we make, no matter how bloody and horrible it is actually a good thing, which makes the entire experience all the more weird. This is one of those games that haunted my thoughts for months because I didn't really understand why it was made. Number 3. Seaman. Let me introduce you to my little swimming friend here. This is Jerky John. He's my mutant talking fish buddy, and I gave him that terrible name since I secretly hate him. In Seaman, the way you play is by using your voice. The game comes with a special microphone that plugs into your controller, allowing you to teach your underwater pal language. By speaking with him every day, he grows to understand and talk back, but I should warn you that he's kind of an asshole. He'll learn your birthday just to tell you to screw yourself on it. He'll unexpectedly throw out mean jokes and asks what's wrong with your face. What's extra bizarre about this game is that whenever you turn it on, you're greeted by Leonard Nimoy. He's the narrator of the game. Spock from Star Trek liked this project so much that he agreed to be part of it. Every single aspect of Seaman is just so off the wall. It's something that's so one of a kind, I think everybody needs to test it for themselves so that they can understand how weird games can be. Number 2. Battle Construction Vehicles. In a quiet Japanese building site, 2 workers square off for a legendary fight. Their weapons aren't fists or swords, but instead construction vehicles. In a time when finding work is very difficult, companies have started going to war with each other to win the right to do each contract. This essentially amounts to using your heavy-duty equipment to ram, slam, and jam your rivals, while also somehow unleashing funny as heck super moves. The plot here is that you're trying to assemble a team of the most talented builders in town, and yet doing that requires that you defeat them in combat. Let me just say that while this game is in English, the overall writing here makes zero sense. Why is everyone yelling at each other non-stop? How am I able to shove someone into lava but they're totally fine? And the most important question of all is, how is a dog driving a freaking tractor? What the hell were they thinking? While I was recording this, I was slightly afraid that my brain might just explode in my head and leak out my nose because trying to process this is way too much. Number 1. Hatoful Boyfriend. If there's one genre of gaming that I never fully got into, it's definitely dating simulators. I have nothing against them, I just don't enjoy figuring out which cute boy I want to date. This project manages to break down that barrier though with a small twist. Rather than trying to get all those hot dudes to like you, it's birds. Really sexy birds. Weeplay is the only human who's been given the high honor of being allowed to attend the world's top school. The problem is that this education institute is actually intended for our flying friends instead. Once she begins going to class, she can't help but notice how attractive everyone is. Did I mention that they're birds? I just can't get over that. These are freaking birds, this is a bird dating simulator. In this game, we must decide between sweet bros like the bird who runs track or the cool teacher or that cute nerdy bird. Depending on the paths you take and how you deal with situations, you can end up falling in love and even marrying one of these avian gentlemen. How did anybody ever think that this project was normal in any way? The fact that anybody was even able to imagine this is sort of impressive. For its amusingly cringy writing, overly realistic art style, and awful cutscenes, I awarded this my pick as the weirdest game ever. Did your favorite weird game not make the list? Got an idea for a future top 10? Leave it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. You know, seriously, sometimes I do just order random boxes of games online, and you'll occasionally get stuff like this. This is a Sonic the Hedgehog shot glass. I don't know what I'd ever use it for. You know what, I guess I do have Dr. Pepper right here. Alright guys, we're living the life now. Look at that. Woo, Sonic! Why am I doing this on camera? What? Man, I'm the weirdest YouTuber ever, and I'm totally okay with that. Thanks for watching. Oh, hey, I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.